Hi, I'm Herrick Kimball. Welcome to my channel. If you are interested in the subject of plumbing and you want to perhaps learn some new things about plumbing, you're in the right place. I'm going to show you a few tools here that I've used that perhaps you've never seen before or used, and I'm going to then show you a tip, a trick, an idea for cleaning the inside quickly and easily of copper fittings before you solder them. So I'm going to hook up the overhead here and get right into it. Before I get into this video, I want to give you an update here on my homemade pipe vise. And I've been using this a lot to take apart various fittings of all different sizes, some of them quite good size, and the brass, I'm keeping the brass for scrap. And when I made this and showed it to you, the pipe itself was loose. It pivoted here, you will recall. And what I've done since then is that I've pinned it to the uprights here. Put some duct tape in here as a shim between the uprights, drill the hole right on through the wrench. You used a fender washer. We've got a split washer there. So this is in there solid. It made this tool so much easier and nicer to use, okay? And this doesn't flop. I can just pick it up right there. This is a downright handy tool. All right, so here's my configuration that I soldered up today, and typically my copper does not look that bright and shiny, but I have a fiber wheel on my bench grinder over here, and I decided to polish it up. Before I show you a few tools, I wanted to show you right here that this is a 90-degree sweep copper fitting. You see that right there? Never used one of these before. I've always used the tight 90s, like that thing right there. I buy these fittings at estate sales, and I have fittings left over from when I was in the trades doing kitchen and bathroom remodeling. So I got a lot of fittings, but only at a estate sale did I find these sweeps. Never knew they were available, and I think these are pretty cool. So I used a couple of them here, right here and right here. Sweeps, 90 degree. I know that they're available for the drain, waste, and vent plumbing, but never knew for the copper. Okay, so there's that. And what I want to show you is my cutter. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a previous video, but I want to mention it here again because I'm so impressed with this bossy cutter as opposed to the rigid. Now this is a good cutter right here, no doubt about it. It's a fine cutter, but this bossy is better. And I'll tell you part of the reason. It's got 6 ball bearings here for your pipe to ride on. This has no ball bearings, okay? It's got a couple of bearings, but I think we would call them sleeve bearings, or there's no ball bearing there. They don't roll as easily as these do, okay? Then the other thing that this bossy has is a big handle with some good gripping lugs, we'll call those, okay? And the rigid has, you know, a smaller handle. So it does the job, but it's not as convenient as this big handle right here. I bought this several years ago. It's got a lot of use on it. It has performed very well. Same thing with the rigid, of course. These are both quality tools in my mind, but I'm partial to this bossy. Now, the next thing is this reamer tool right here. A lot of pipe cutters have a reamer tool. The bossy does not. And I used these reamers after you cut your pipe, and I guess I'll cut a piece here. I have a lot of old copper pipe. You see this is not shiny, that I have left over, bits and pieces and a few long ones from when I was in the trades like 25 years ago, and I just hang on to it. Now when you ream or when you cut the pipe, as you know, you need to ream off that burr. It curves in when you cut it, and it's important to get that burr off of there if you want to do a really good quality job, because the burr creates turbulence as the water goes by. Turbulence is not good. It cuts down your flow rate, and it could lead to pitting and problems. It could, and I'm not saying it will, but it could. That turbulence is not a good thing. So Most of the cutters have this thing right here. I used that for years. You can get that burr off with that thing fairly well. I've used one of these before when I showed how to make escutcheons out of PVC, and here it is, the perfect tool for, I usually pull this and hold it up close to my body for better control and leverage, but I'll do it, extend it out here so the camera gets it, but you can see how nicely that lifts or removes a burr. That's what it's made for. And this is the right tool for the job, and they're downright cheap, and they have replacement tips for them. If you've not used a deburring tool for this purpose, get one. You're going to love it. One more thing here as far as tools go, and that is right here. As some of you know, if you've watched my channel for long, I go to estate sales. I'm looking for tools. I do sell on eBay some, and I keep some. This one here is an X-Acto holder. I'm not sure, you know, it's to hold things. And when I got it from the estate, it came with one alligator clip here. The other alligator clip was missing. You can articulate this thing any way you want. You can make it work to hold things. Well, what I did was I took this clothespin, cut it off, made it thinner right here, and I put it in there, tightened it up. And so this little holder was what I used to hold these assemblies right here when I soldered them. The clothespin will hold that, no problem. You can put that on there. This is 1/2-inch pipe. It won't hold 3/4. But that was just a downright useful thing. And I'm not saying you should go out and get one to do your plumbing, but hey, if you see one of these, that's a nifty tool. I got a feeling I'm going to find other uses. What I did was I clamped it over here in my vise. So it was up and it was at a convenient height. Now I want to get to the feature presentation, the how-to trick. As you know, you've got to clean these up on the inside. The outside of the pipe is not a big deal. I learned using emery cloth, okay? And you know this if you've done any plumbing, that the emery cloth works great. There are other products like Scotch-Brite type pads. They'll work too. Even steel wool will work, okay? But you want to get the metal kind of polished up. And I'm partial to this because this is what I learned using, this emery cloth. Not, you know, sandpaper, which has a paper backing. It's made for wood. Emery cloth has a fabric cloth backing, and it's made for metal. Now, it's easy enough to get the outside of the pipe polished up, cleaned up, ready for soldering with this emery cloth. But the inside of fittings, it's not so easy. Now, I understand that there is a wire brush that you can use for this job, and there's nothing wrong with a wire brush. I did have one once, and sometimes people snip off the wire handle, and then they chuck it in their drill, and they use it that way to clean these off. And you know, that works, but I've got a better idea. I'm just showing you that you can do this by hand with the emery cloth. This is the way I've done it until I figured out this idea that I'm going to show you. It's easier on a 3/4-inch fitting like this. It's a little bit harder on a 1/2-inch fitting like this, but there's a better way, and I'm going to show it to you now. I think I may have come up with this idea on my own a while back, or maybe I saw it and I only imagined that it was my idea. This is 3/16 inch. It happens to be aluminum. It's just something I snipped off of this roll, which I salvaged from somewhere. And it's 3 inches long, 3/16 inch. You could use a wood dowel. You could use a 16-penny nail and just cut it down. And then we have a piece of emery cloth right here. 3 inches wide, 6 inches long. Just roll it right around tight, roll it tight, just like that. Tap it down, and you want it to go this way, okay? So it's spinning this way in your drill, okay? 1/2-inch drill. This is just under a 1/2 inch. Tighten it right down. And we're ready to clean. Look how dirty that is. Can you see how dirty that is? Filthy. Okay. That is much cleaner, and you can get it even much more cleaner if you take a look in there and then, yeah. See, we've cleaned that up. All that oxidation, years of oxidation, very easy. And I can get it out of here. I can unroll it and do this, just tear it. That's the nice thing about emery cloth, is that it tears nicely. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.